All right, so big golf game coming up, and you're starting to feel those butterflies, huh?
Yeah, we've all been there.
Well, today we're going to deep dive into this guide from Golf Locality.
Okay.
It's all about conquering those first tee jitters,
Oh, yeah.
That feeling when you're standing on the tee box, first shot of the game, everybody's watching.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a great article packed with tips and techniques, even some comments from other golfers.
Interesting.
And guess what?
Right.
Even the pros get those first tee jitters.
Really? I had no idea. That's kind of comforting, actually.
Right. Takes a little pressure off.
Yeah, yeah.
So one thing I really liked about this guide, it dives into the why behind those jitters.
Oh, interesting.
Like, it's not enough to just know what to do about them.
Right.
You got to understand why they happen in the first place.
Totally. Makes sense.
Yeah. So they talk about this fight or flight response.
Uh-huh.
It's like our body's natural reaction to pressure.
Okay, so it's like a primal instinct.
Exactly. And I think that's really helpful to know because, instead of beating ourselves up for feeling nervous,
Right.
we can start to think about it more like, okay, this is just my body doing its thing.
Yeah, it's normal.
Exactly. So how do we work with it? What's step one in this pre-game mental battle plan?
Well, I think the guide really nails it when they emphasize preparation.
Okay, like in any sport.
Exactly. It's about warming up, but not just your body, your mind, too.
So we're talking about like
Light jogging dynamic stretches.
okay.
Those are movements that get your muscles moving through a range of motion. And they even suggest some visualization techniques.
Visualization. Wait, so like close your eyes and picture yourself making the perfect shot.
Exactly.
Interesting.
I know it might sound a little woo-woo, but there's actually a lot of science behind it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Athletes use mental rehearsal all the time.
Makes sense.
It's basically training your brain for success. So by visualizing that perfect swing, that smooth connection, the ball soaring exactly where you want it to go, you're priming your brain and your muscles for action.
Oh, I like that. It's like a mental dress rehearsal for the main event.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, so we've got the physical warm-up, we've got the mental visualization. What about fueling our bodies? Did they mention anything about that?
Oh, absolutely. They don't neglect the practical stuff.
Good.
The guide reminds us that what we put into our bodies affects our performance, both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
So eating a balanced meal a few hours before tea time, staying hydrated, those are simple but crucial steps.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever noticed how, like, being hungry or thirsty can just make you feel more on edge?
Oh, absolutely. If my stomach's grumbling, I can't focus on anything else.
Same here. Okay, so we've got the physical warm-up, the mental visualization, and we're fueling our bodies, right?
Right.
Anything else we can do to prep before we even set foot on the course?
Well, there's one more piece of advice I found helpful. It's about getting familiar with the course beforehand.
Oh, interesting. Like scouting it out.
Kind of. Knowing the layout, the hazards, even the general feel of the greens can give you a sense of confidence and reduce anxiety. It's like having a mental roadmap instead of walking into the unknown.
I get it. So, less surprises, less anxiety. Okay, so we've done all our pregame prep.
Feeling good.
We're feeling good. We step up to that tee box, and suddenly those jitters come creaking back.
Oh, it happens.
It happens. So what do we do in that moment?
Well, that's where those in-the-moment techniques come into play.
Okay, give me some examples.
The guide suggests a few things, and they all kind of revolve around controlling your breathing and focusing your mind.
Okay, deep breaths, I'm guessing.
You got it.
Makes sense.
Deep, slow breathing actually activates the parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay, I'm not sure I've heard of that. What's that?
Well, have you ever heard of the vagus nerve?
Maybe.
It's like this superhighway connecting your brain to your internal organs.
Wow.
And stimulating it sends a signal to your body that it's time to relax.
So wait, in that moment of panic, I can literally breathe my way to calmness.
It sounds too simple, right? But it really works.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to try that
Yeah, you should.
next time I'm stressed about, well, anything, not just golf. All right, so deep breathing. Are there other techniques that can help us in that crucial moment?
Yeah, for sure. The guide talks about the power of a consistent pre-shot routine. This could be anything, from taking a few practice swings to visualizing the shot one more time, even double-checking your grip on the club.
So it's about finding a sequence of actions that help you focus and feel more in control.
Exactly. When you have a routine, you're not just reacting to the pressure of the situation. You're actively engaging with the process, and that can be incredibly calming.
It's like a mental checklist. Helps you feel prepared and confident no matter what. All right, we talked about breathing. We talked about routines. Is there anything else we can do to manage those in-the-moment jitters? Especially when it comes to our physical state, I mean.
That's a great point. You're right to bring up the physical aspects. Remember how we talked about that fight or flight response?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that happens when we get nervous is that our muscles tense up.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. My grip gets tight. My shoulders hunch up. It's like my whole body is bracing for impact.
Exactly. And that tension can totally mess with your swing.
Right.
So the guide recommends paying attention to your grip and your stance.
Oh.
Make sure you're not gripping the club too tightly. Relax your shoulders, loosen up your arms, and find a comfortable stance that feels balanced and stable.
It's like telling your body, hey, it's okay, we got this.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
It's about sending those signals of calm and control to both your mind and your body.
This is all fantastic advice. We've covered pre-game prep, in-the-moment techniques. What about after the game? Is there anything we can do to, learn from those jitters, maybe even use them to our advantage next time?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's where the guide's emphasis on post-game reflection comes in.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's like turning your experience,
Yeah.
into a learning opportunity.
Okay.
The guide suggests, taking some time after each game to analyze not just your score, but
Yeah.
how you handle those first tee jitters.
Like what worked, what didn't.
Exactly.
Okay.
Were there any moments where you felt particularly anxious? And what did you do to manage those feelings?
That's a great point, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like turning each game into a feedback loop.
Exactly.
So we can keep improving and refining our mental game.
Yeah, precisely.
I like that a lot, okay.
And one practical tip they suggest is keeping a golf journal.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you can jot down your thoughts, your feelings,
Sure.
any specific techniques you tried,
Okay.
how they worked, and what you might want to focus on next time.
So it's not just about tracking your scores, but also tracking your mental game progress.
Exactly.
I like that, yeah.
It's like having your own personal record of your journey towards mastering those first tee jitters.
And as you go back and review your entries,
Right.
you might start to notice patterns.
Yeah.
Maybe you always feel more anxious on certain types of courses, or maybe there's a particular breathing technique that works wonders for you.
Right, exactly.
It's like turning those insights into actionable strategies for the next game.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
And speaking of setting ourselves up for success,
Yeah.
the guide also talks about the importance of realistic expectations.
Oh, that's huge.
Yes, they emphasize that.
Yeah,
It's not about eliminating anxiety altogether.
right.
That's probably not realistic for most of us.
Yeah.
Instead, it's about learning to manage it effectively.
So it's a process, not a destination.
Exactly.
And every small victory, whether it's, taking a few deep breaths instead of letting the nerves take over,
Right.
or hitting a good shot even when you're feeling the pressure,
Yeah.
those are all steps in the right direction.
Absolutely. And it's important to celebrate those wins, no matter how small they seem.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Now, I know the guide is full of great DIY advice,
Right.
but it also acknowledges that sometimes we might need a little extra support.
Yeah.
They talk about the benefits of working with a professional, like a coach or a sports psychologist.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Sometimes having that objective, expert guidance can make all the difference.
Right.
They can help you identify, those underlying thought patterns
Yeah.
and develop personalized techniques for managing anxiety,
Yeah.
both on and off the course.
It's like having a personal trainer for your mental game.
Exactly.
So for those who feel like they're struggling, it's good to know there are resources and support systems available.
Absolutely. You don't have to go it alone.
You don't have to go it alone. That's a great takeaway, for sure.
Yeah,
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
we have.
Pre-game prep, in-the-moment techniques, post-game reflection,
Yeah.
even the option of seeking professional help.
Mm.
It's like we've built a whole toolkit for tackling those first tee jitters.
I like that analogy.
What are the
Yeah.
key takeaways you'd like our listener to walk away with?
I think the most important takeaway is that those first tee jitters are incredibly common.
It's normal.
Yeah, it's not a sign of weakness. It's simply a natural reaction to a situation that feels important to us. But here's the good news.
Okay.
We have the power to manage those nerves.
We do.
Yeah. Ah.
That's so empowering.
Yeah, it's not about pretending those feelings don't exist. It's about learning to work with them.
Right, and it starts with understanding where those jitters come from.
Exactly.
That fight or flight response, like we talked about,
Right.
it's hardwired into our brains, but we can use that knowledge to our advantage.
For sure.
Preparation is key.
Yes.
Warming up both our bodies and our minds, using visualization techniques to mentally rehearse those perfect shots,
Right.
fueling ourselves properly, even getting to know the course beforehand is possible.
Right.
Those are all things we can do to set ourselves up for success.
Yeah, and then, when you're standing on that tee box and those butterflies start to flutter, remember those in-the-moment techniques. Deep breathing is your superpower.
It is.
Yeah, it activates that vagus nerve and sends a signal to your body to relax. And having a consistent pre-shot routine
Yeah.
can provide a sense of familiarity and control,
Right.
even when you're feeling the pressure.
It's like having a mental anchor in the midst of the storm.
Exactly.
And don't forget about those physical cues.
Right.
Relax your grip, loosen up your stance, and remind your body that everything is okay.
And after the game, take some time to reflect. Use that golf journal to track your progress and identify those patterns,
Okay.
both in your performance and in your mental state.
Turn those insights into actionable strategies for your next game.
Exactly.
Celebrate your wins, big or small, and remember that it's a journey.
Be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
And don't hesitate to reach out for support if you need it.
Yeah.
There are coaches, sports psychologists, and even online communities that can offer guidance and encouragement.
Speaking of encouragement, there's one more point from the guide that I found really inspiring,
Okay.
and it's about shifting our perspective on those jitters.
Oh, you mean the part about reframing those nerves as excitement?
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Instead of seeing those butterflies as a sign of fear or weakness,
Right.
what if we saw them as a sign that we're about to do something that really matters to us?
I love that.
It's like those pregame jitters are actually a sign that we're fully engaged, that we're ready to bring our A game.
It's that same energy we feel before a big presentation or a performance.
right.
It's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
It just needs to be channeled effectively.
So instead of trying to suppress those nerves, maybe we can acknowledge them, embrace them,
Yeah.
and even use them to fuel our focus and determination.
Turn that nervous energy into
Yeah,
positive energy.
It's like flipping the script on those first tee jitters.
And that's a game changer.
Okay, I think we've given our listener plenty to think about today, but before we wrap up,
Okay.
I want to touch on one final point from the article that really resonated with me.
I'm all ears.
It's about the power of self-talk.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
The article emphasizes that the way we talk to ourselves on the course can have a huge impact on our performance.
That's so true. It's so easy to get caught up in negative self-talk, especially when we're feeling those first tee jitters.
Yeah, like,
I'm going to mess this up. Everyone's watching me. I'm not good enough.
those thoughts can be so insidious, can't they?
They creep in and undermine our confidence before we even take a swing.
Exactly.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
We can choose to challenge those negative thoughts.
Okay.
We can choose to replace them with more positive and supportive self-talk.
So instead of, I'm going to mess this up,
Right.
we could say something like, I'm going to focus on my breathing and my routine, and I'm going to give it my best shot.
Exactly. And even if you don't fully believe it at first, keep repeating those positive affirmations to yourself.
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly. Because over time, those positive affirmations can actually start to rewire our brains.
Wow.
They can help us build self-confidence and create a more optimistic outlook.
So to our listener out there who's getting ready for that big golf game,
Yeah.
remember this. You got this.
And even if you feel those first tee jitters, you now have a whole arsenal of tools to manage them.
We've given you so much to try.
Use those tools, be kind to yourself, and most importantly, have fun out there.
That's a perfect note to end on.
Yeah.
And that's it for today's deep dive.
Great deep dive.
We'll catch you next time for another fascinating exploration of a topic that matters to you. Until then, happy golfing. And hey, you know those first tee jitters?
Yeah.
Maybe they're actually like a secret weapon.
Oh, I like that, a secret weapon.
How so? Well, we've given you a whole toolbox full of techniques today.
Right.
From, pre-game prep to in-the-moment strategies to post-game reflection. It's all about finding what works for you.
Exactly. Maybe you'll find that deep breathing is your go-to technique. Or maybe developing like a rock-solid pre-shot routine,
Yeah.
That could make all the difference.
Right.
And don't forget about keeping that golf journal.
Right. Oh, yeah. Track that progress. Celebrate those wins, no matter how small.
Exactly.
So next time you're standing on that tee box, feeling those butterflies,
Yeah.
remember what we talked about?
You're not alone.
Not at all. Even the pros, they get those pre-game jitters.
That's right.
The key is to understand them, manage them, and even use them to your advantage.
Use them to your advantage. I like that.
Yeah. And above all, remember to enjoy the game.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's a beautiful sport,
No, it is.
It's challenging. And it can teach us a lot about ourselves, both on and off the course, right?
That's a really great point. Sometimes we get so caught up in the pressure of performing
Right.
that we forget to simply enjoy the experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Soak in that fresh air.
Yes.
Appreciate the camaraderie and, celebrate those moments of connection, both with the game and with the people you're playing with.
Beautifully said.
Okay. Well, I think on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into conquering first tee jitters.
Yeah, I think so.
Hopefully it's been insightful and empowering.
Absolutely. We're rooting for you out there on the course.
We are. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep exploring those topics that spark your curiosity. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a subject that matters to you.